interview with other over 40 fashionistas, 40, 50, and beyond, so that I can really bring them to you and help you feel inspired and uplifted and ready to just live your best life. Today, I have a special treat for you. On Google Hangouts today from Atlanta is Lisa Hale of the Silver Stylist. And what I love about Lisa, she's also a personal stylist like I am. She also believes in using personal style and fashion to connect with women, to help women feel good about themselves. She has a long history of working in retail, so she knows the fashion game really well. And she started her blog a few years ago, focusing on women over 40 to give them a voice, to speak directly to them, because there are not that many people speaking to us, right? So I'm so excited to hear more about her story of reinvention, her story of how she finds her authentic self. Welcome, Lisa. It's so wonderful to have you.
It's so good to be here, Tracy. Thank you so much for having me. So yeah, it's an exciting time to be a midlife woman, you know. I find, I'm excited about it. It's encouraging others to be excited about it. So, and it's just all about your journey. So, let's start out with the first question. You want to start with the basics as far as how I got started? And,
yes, that's exactly what I wanted. Yeah. So I was just wanting to know, how did you start your blog? How did you find your voice? And because, you've grown quite a big following, Lisa.
It could always be bigger, but we're always a work in progress. So that's a good thing. I started my blog because really it's just kind of it was just a natural progression for me of where I had started in my life. I started as a master cosmetologist. I started turning gray at 14. So I knew I'd be coloring my hair the rest of my life. So I went to hair school, married my husband. I dated him in high school and when he was in college. And so then I did hair for a while and then started having children, was a makeup artist for on the weekends because I found, doing hair was through the week and that wasn't going to work for me. I wanted to be able to be there for my children and to help raise my kids because that's what I felt like I was called to do. And then I was a makeup artist for the week during the weekend. So that gave me a break. My husband traveled, he watched them on the weekend and I would work like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so I did that till I had like 4 children and then started working for Gap. And actually that's when I retired from working for Gap. I worked for them 23 years, but it was in a part-time basis and I was their stylist and did, a lot of connecting with people in the community. In each store, I traveled to several different states and moved with them. And eventually what I ended up doing is, where my kids got in school and I worked during the day. So it was, it wasn't full time, but it was as full as I could handle at the time. I ended up leaving there, opening a boutique for a really good friend of mine that was skincare and hair. And that didn't work out, which really now in hindsight, I look back and I was upset, but I really see where that was meant to be. It was supposed to be that way. And then all my friends, I'm the one that they come to out of my little group and community I have several different communities of women, but when I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, they were like, oh, you've got to keep doing what you're doing because you're the one that we come to for hair, for makeup, for styling. You can't quit doing what you do because that's what you've done your whole life. And who will we go to? So that's really how the blog kind of started. I started kind of looking for my own inspiration because, as a woman, we look for other women to inspire us and men as well. And so I started looking on social media for people that inspired me. And I really realized that there weren't a lot that were in this age bracket, 40, 50, 60. And I really had to dig for them. And so I just thought, I'm just going to start writing about what I love and the things that matter to me. And I love the full look from hair to makeup to, your whole outfit. We've all been somewhere where we see a woman, we're like, oh man, she looks great. And you get to her shoes and you, ooh. Or you get to, you're like, oh, her makeup, man, she's a beautiful woman. If she could just tweak this. And it's not being critical. It's just trying to, it's just things that we see. I see that in myself when I look at a picture. I think, wow, a couple of years ago, I could have tweaked that and made that a little bit different and it would have been a little bit better. But anyway, so.
When you see yourself, so Lisa, I think I can, I can absolutely concur with what you're saying because I see myself on camera often and I go, oh, what did I I do? Or how did that outfit, that outfit didn't work? Or, oh my goodness, is that what my butt looks like in that? Or,
Yeah.
I think it's so important to, and I mean, this is what we do, but I think it's really important to be able to laugh at ourselves and go, oh my goodness. I mean, sometimes on Instagram, I even like put screenshots of funny faces that I see myself pulling, on camera so that I can laugh at myself and people realize I'm not perfect,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But anyway, but back to my big thing when I worked retail that I thought was so, I'd been in that business for so long that, I grew with my community. We started out with young children. And I mean, I made friends with the people that came and shopped with me. And one of the big things that really led me to blog and to encourage women is that, as the years passed on and our children got older, kids got into college and then they graduated. I had so many women I hadn't seen in a really long time would stop by the store and they would come in and say, I'd say, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? And they would say, they would have this blank look on their face and say, oh my gosh, my kids are in college. I'm kind of empty nest. And my husband just looked at me the other day and just said, I don't love you anymore. I don't know who you are. I've put all my life into raising my children and now they're gone and I don't even know who I am. And that broke my heart. And then it was like that, because they had done the right thing by staying home and having the opportunity to raise their family. And I'm not saying that's for everyone, but I'm just saying that that's what they had chosen, kind of like what I did. Although I knew for me, I needed a little bit of me to be able to be a better mother to my children. So that's kind of why I worked part-time. And I figured that was something I figured out very early on. I couldn't be a stay-at-home 24/7 mom. I'm very much a people person and I feed off of others. And I love the energy of being in a room full of people and meeting new people and talking. So that I knew early on that I needed to have a little bit of Lisa Hale in order to be, a quarter of Lisa Hale in order to be 3/4 of a good mother for my 4 children. So
Lisa, did you experience judgment around that? Because I'm amazed at, we often speak about, as we get older, women over 40, we become more supportive of one another and stop competing with one another. But what I do find is in the topic of motherhood, and maybe it's, when we're younger, there seems to be a lot of judgment around, do you work, do you not work? Do you work part-time? Are you there for your family? Even like, do you breastfeed or do you give formula? How did you navigate those conversations?
I never really had. I never really felt judged in that way. I guess I never allowed anyone. There probably were people that talked, but I knew who I was and I knew what my identity was and how I was as a person. And I knew for me, that's what I'm saying. Blogging is one of those things that you can throw stuff out there and encourage people, but not everything that I put out there is for everyone. I try to be encouraging and say, this may not be for you. So to me, I never really had that. I see it more in the younger generation now. I think that things have changed so much with having kids. Like I have a brand new grandbaby. And so the things that are so different now, they're saying this and they're saying that. And to me, it's so confusing. And I think it has a lot to do with social media. I think there's so much out there that you can get on and almost be overwhelmed and let it weigh you down and drown you. But you have to learn what works best for you. And so I always encourage my daughter, try it. If that doesn't work for you, step back and, try it. Not everything is going to work for everyone. So, and that's,
yeah, it sounds like you can use, that advice is great advice, Lisa, for anybody really, is to sometimes not be so fearful of trying things. Try something. If it doesn't work, you can backtrack. You can change your mind. You have the freedom to change your mind.
Yeah, and that's where we had kind of talked earlier about finding out who you are as a person and finding out your identity. And for me, I'm all about helping people. When I cut or do hair or makeup or style, it's that overall aesthetic, but to me, it's that connecting with that individual. And it's amazing what you find out when you get into that conversation, it becomes, when you touch someone, that even just touching someone on their arm, it's intimate, and you get that connection. And then it's amazing how someone will let you in. And then you find out things in people's lives. And, to me, I want to be an encouragement. Is my life perfect? Absolutely not. I mean, I have my own issues, but I really find, for me, when I'm low, to go out and help someone else is really, it ends up turning out and ends up blessing me in the end. And in turn, that's what I'm saying, when we kind of come out of ourselves, I think I think it's a huge thing in life. That's why I encourage my kids, we can always look and say, woe is me, but we can always look in there's always going to be someone in a much worse situation. It could be much worse. So I always say, go out and make a difference, try to help someone. And it's simple. It doesn't have to be something big. I mean, to me, it's like standing in line and someone looks grumpy across from me, just looking at them, smiling, and saying, hey. I mean, reaching, connecting. I think it's huge. And I think in today's society, we spend so much time, we're busy, that it's very hard to connect. And when we do, it's very shallow. And I think people are fearful of being transparent. It's because they always feel like, I think a lot of people and a lot of women walk in fear. And so when you walk in fear, you keep things closed off. I know my husband and myself, we've been married, divorced, and remarried. We work with couples that are going through tough times in our community because we've walked that road before. But I know there was a lot of shame with that. And so, you kept things closed in. And so, but for me, I think once it's out in the light is when you can really, and it's exposed. But I think so many women walk in shame with so many things in life. And that makes me sad.
I agree with that. Yeah, Lisa, I agree. And I think, it's been so interesting because I feel as if in the last, year or so, maybe even last few months, I feel like there's a call for authenticity. I feel like there's opportunities for women to come out and start telling their stories. I mean, I look at the Me Too movement. I look at conferences that I've been to where it talks about, being set free of things that we've struggled with our entire lives. And I feel that there's a shift. I feel like there is a shift that is happening, but we have to be prepared to step outside of the shame and to start sharing our stories. And the powerful thing is that once we start sharing our stories, other women then feel brave enough to share their stories. And then we can realize that we're actually not alone.
Oh, gosh, no. And that's what's so crazy about these couples that we cancel. It's like they come and they think that they're the only one that's going through this. And then once they start sharing their story, then everybody else is like, because we have, the things that we have in common are much more common than we think. And so, like I said, once you're transparent and open up, and it just takes, time. And that's why I encourage, blogging is just out there. It's taken that step out there and, reinventing. It's not really reinventing. It's just moving to that next block. It's not really reinventing yourself. It's who I've always been, but I've just taken that next step into what I'm called to do. So, and to me, it's to make a difference, to encourage women to love on people. Because I think that's really in the grand scheme of things, that's really what's important. And I can't do it. Trust me, I have prayed about what I was called to do because my spiritual life is huge in my day-to-day walk. I couldn't be sitting here with you today if I didn't have my faith. And so for me, that's so important to, every day pray, who am I going to come in contact with? What am I going to do to make a difference? Who am I going to love today? And I see people all the time, and I'll just, for whatever reason, you'll connect eyes and I'll just say, bless that person because I don't know what's going on in their life. We get so busy, like I said, nowadays it's hard to connect up. And when we do, it's very shallow because our world is so busy. And I think a lot of things we need to slow down and start taking the time. And I think as women, when we come together and we can sit around and chat and have a community of women that we support one another and we encourage one another and we're at the same place in life, and even bring those younger women in too, because, if they live long enough, they're going to get to where we're at. And
Yeah.
it's a privilege it's a privilege to grow old in age. And I think in society, they look at it just the opposite. We should be quiet and just slowly fade into the woodwork. But really, this is the time to share what we've gone through. It's the things, it's the good and the bad in our life that's made us the people that we are. It's the tough times that really resonate with me, because that really shaped me as a person. We don't grow when things are easy. We grow when things are tough and they're hard and they're uncomfortable. And those are the times I wouldn't trade. Like I said, my husband and I have been divorced for 2 years and remarried. I wouldn't trade those times for anything, because they were hard times. And in the midst of it, I was like, whoa. But now I look back and think that was such a sweet time, because that's when we grew. That's when we realized we didn't take things for granted anymore. That's when we really realized, what love is really all about. It's setting my feelings aside for someone else, and someone else, my partner, setting his feelings aside for me. It's not all about me, and
yeah, I completely agree with that, Lisa, because I think, if I even look at my walk of moving to New York, I mean, my husband and I have been away from each other for long periods of time. I mean, it'll be 3 months when he comes to New York on March 1st. But it has grown our appreciation for each other, and really helped us get clearer on what is most important, because you can have things, and you can have a bigger space, and you can have, you can have a big house, and you can have all these things that the world, that, our society says is great and makes you
valuable. That's your value.
Yes. But in actual fact, just being together is the most important thing, and valuing each other is the most important thing, and how important those things are above money and above certain situations, I think are really good. And I love also what you said about feeling about following your faith and knowing that you have a calling, that you're called to do certain things.
Right.
And it's such an interesting thing, because it's one of the threads that I'm seeing through in quite a few of the interviews I've been doing, women who have gone through big adversity, and I ask them, well, what is their secret to going through adversity? And they say, it's my faith. It's my faith in knowing that I'm called to do certain things, and that keeps me going during times when it's really hard. And bet your bottom dollar it's going to be hard.
Oh gosh, yes. But anything that's worth it in life, if it comes easy, we don't have an appreciation for it. I mean, I can see that in my kids. When I've given to them, they don't appreciate it until they've really had to knuckle down and work hard for something after they've left my home, and they've worked hard, and how proud and happy they are on what they've accomplished, because no one gave it to them. They actually had to really dig deep. And that's when you grow as an individual, when you have to dig deep and it gets dirty. And sometimes it's really not pretty. And those are the things, when I run into women and they're in the midst of that, that's where I think we need to come alongside and love people through that, not have them feel shameful, but to be able to say, I've been there. I know what that feeling's like, or no, I haven't been there. I mean, there's some things I haven't been through, loss of a child, that have friends that have gone through that, but I can still come alongside of them and love them in the midst of that time, even though I can't relate, and I mean, it's a horrible situation to be in, but you want to be there for them. And I think that's when we, as women, really show our strength. And I think it makes a difference in the men too. I think men, they compartmentalize, and we as women, we work off of our emotions. We're very emotional beings. I mean, there are some men that are a little bit more tapped into that than others, but most men are very compartmentalized. And I think that's why, we as women make such a good helpmate for men, because it helps them, we work off of one another. I guess that's why it's opposites attracts. My husband is just the opposite of what I am. A little bit more introverted, and I'm extroverted, a little bit more reserved. I can rattle on for days, but it works. I mean, it's a good.
I relate to that. My husband is the same. So Lisa, one of the things that I love about looking at your blog and getting to know you also is how you use fashion, how as a stylist, and having worked in retail for a long time, and now styling your own clients, and then, blogging, how you have found fashion and clothing and style to be very powerful for women, especially when they are in the place of needing to reinvent themselves.
Oh gosh, yes. Well, I mean, we all know. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you just went away. That's so weird.
I know. You know, I don't know what is going on with YouTube.
Okay, there it goes. It was so weird. You just went zink away.
Okay.
Yes, clothing is very powerful. I mean, we all know when we put that outfit on and we know we look like $1 million. I mean, it just brings our confidence level. It's empowering. And to me, everybody's different. Like I said, some women, I've got a really good friend that her mother never worked with her makeup. Her mother never wore makeup. And she's like, Lisa, I don't know what I would do if you hadn't, take me out every year and we kind of revamp her makeup and we kind of go over, what's out there, what's the look, is it a heavier brow? Is it a brighter lip, and kind of what goes along. She never had anybody, go alongside her. And that's just, after we're through with that day, she's like, she's beaming, because she feels good. She feels empowered. So, and just through that simple act of, it's just tweaking little things. So yes, clothing is huge. And what's great is you can be whoever you want to be any day. It just all has to do with the way you dress. And I dress, for me, all over the map. I don't have, yes, I have classic pieces and very old pieces that I've had for a really long time, but I also like dipping my toe into what's trending. I always recommend buy a couple trendy pieces, it just, they're fun to have. They're, whether it be an accessory, shoes, makeup or whatever it may be in the season, buy a couple pieces. That always makes for an interesting, and it always makes for adding interest to what you're wearing. I agree, classics are classics, but and they are important because they're the staple to me. For my customer, they're the staple of what your foundation is, of what your wardrobe is. But I dress all over because I feel like I can be whoever I want to be with the way I dress each day. One day I may be that boho girl that, doesn't really feel like doing her hair, wears a hat, ends up wearing a flared pair of jeans and a t-shirt. Or, one day I want to get up and want to be very prim. I'll wear, like a collared, real ruffled blouse and, so clothing is a way of expressing yourself, and it's also empowering, very much so. I love it. That's why I don't like putting myself into a box. And that's why I hate at our age how everyone's, there are so many critics out there saying, we don't need to have long hair. We need to wear, we don't need to wear this. We don't need to wear that. I'm like, if it makes you feel good, wear it. Because
and who made those rules anyway, Lisa?
I have no idea. Somebody that doesn't really speak to women. To me, it's freedom. That's the one thing about clothing, and that's the one thing about you're free. That's what's so wonderful about fashion now. There used to be so many rules, and back then everybody, was bound by those rules. And now, to me, it's like, there's no boundaries anymore. You can wear what you would like to wear. And to some degrees, that's not always a great thing. We've all been out somewhere where we're like, oh, that, but you know what? But, then I've got to give that person kudos for, what? You felt comfortable enough in your own skin to walk out the door like that. You go. That's powerful. You felt good enough, and that you walked out like that. Now, me, I wear what I feel comfortable in and, walk in that. So yes, very empowering.
I think it's so interesting, Lisa, that you brought that up, because I think as women, we tend to think in extremes. So in fear of getting it wrong, of being that girl that everybody walks and goes, oh, did you look in the mirror when you got out, before you walked out the door, versus, a woman who's really dressing dressing very conservatively, and not really expressing herself. And I think that there's somewhere in between. I do think that there's certain things, like sometimes showing too much flesh, which I actually think at any age is a point to consider when it comes to dressing.
Well, I think there's a degree to where we have to have a little bit of respect for ourselves. And for me, it's more of a modesty thing. We need to think a little bit more about ourselves. And there are certain things, but I'm okay with wearing a shorter skirt, and I still wear shorts, and I still wear a two-piece bathing suit. because I'm comfortable in that, because I'm not going to have anybody tell me I can't, because I'm just that type of person that someone tells me no, I dig my heels in and say, oh, watch me. I mean,
I can relate to that. Do not make the rules. But I think that there are so many. This is my feeling at the moment, is that women over 40, 50, 60 are majority are feeling nervous about spreading their wings. So for me, I would rather err on the side of go out there, girl, wear what you want to wear, have fun with how you want to wear it, as opposed to listening to a whole bunch of rules. I mean, on YouTube, I'll get, oh, you should cut your hair, or you should never wear that, or who do you think you are giving advice, or, whatever. I'm like, that's fine. Then don't watch. Watch if you relate, and if it works for you, and if it inspires you. If you don't, that's fine too. No one person can make everybody happy.
No, and that's not. I mean, that's why I'm not here to make everybody happy. I'm here to be an encouragement, and if something resonates with you, great. And if it doesn't, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with who I am. And that's the thing, I think, being okay with who you are. And so, we all look back at pictures and I could have done things a little bit differently, but for the most part, I'm happy with who I am. I mean, and that I think is a huge thing, that more women, need to figure out who they are, what makes them happy, where they are in life, and what they want to do, and like you said, so you don't get it right, but don't do nothing. Because I think that a lot of times women are held hostage by that fear of, oh, what's everybody going to say? That's why I said finding out who you are and what you're called to do is so empowering, because once you know that, that's just, I mean, it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. I mean, in my feeling, that I don't really care. I mean, could my numbers be better and this and that? Probably. As far as on my blog and my Instagram, I always want them to be better. But is that the end all be all for me? No, I will keep moving forward, because I feel like I'm called to be where I'm at. I'm called to meet women, to love on them, to encourage them. And and my conduit is, like I said, fashion, makeup, and hair. I'm blessed to be able to go to shoots and do makeup for photo shoots. And and connect with people there. I connect with people just, being out and about. Unfortunately, the thing that has become my bane in my existence when I was younger, God and his sense of humor, this has become what I get stopped for 9 times out of 10.
Isn't that incredible though?
I know. It's crazy.
Often the thing that we are most self-conscious about,
absolutely,
and have the hardest time with, becomes our real uniqueness, and gives us opportunities to make an impact in other people's lives. I mean, for me, like, I'm very pale, and so when I was growing up in South Africa as a child, pale skin actually was very it wasn't fashionable, and I remember never wearing skirts and always being, ashamed of my pale skin. And then I one day just woke up and then I thought, well, if Nicole Kidman can do it, then so can I.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I actually ended up making money from my pale skin, because I'd be, casted as the Irish bride. And the one time Orange Cell Phone Company used me as a big hair lady, and they made my hair like as long as it was, as high as it was, and with pale skin, and and I just think, and it was so healing for me, because like, that's your uniqueness. That is
right.
Who you are. And so that's what I'm getting from this conversation, is that, know who you are, stand firm in who you are, be grounded in who you are.
And learn what is it that why is it that you're not liking something, about you? I mean, and that's digging deep was there something that was said to you? Are you hearing that little voice in your head? Like, we know that voice that tells us, we can choose to listen to that. Oh, you don't look good. Nobody likes you. It's that voice. And I just have to say, get away. I mean, I know what my truth is. I know who I am. And I think it goes a lot back to, that's what's interesting about blogging at this age versus the younger girls, is because I don't look at it as a competition with women that are my age. I feel like that we're all unique. There's only one Lisa Hale. There's only one Tracy. I mean, where we're made, there's no one else like it. So I don't look at it as a competition as such. And so that's why I think that's so freeing to be at the age that we are now, is because we've lived. We don't, I mean, and that's what I want to tell the younger girls. It's just walk in who you are. I mean, you're beautiful. You don't, I mean, it's just that confidence, and that just, and some of it comes with age, some of it comes with living a little, and some of it comes through, you know, the school of hard knocks. I mean, it just depends. I learned early on, you know, because I did learn through the school of hard knocks. I'm very headstrong and determined, and you know, and that is a good thing. But in the beginning, it was a tough way to learn a lot of hard lessons, you know. But again, I wouldn't go back. I mean, I wouldn't trade it, because it's made me who I am. So
that's it. So Lisa, one last question before we end off. What do you do for fun?
Oh gosh, what do I do for fun? Well, for me, it's just the more the merrier. I mean, my family is a huge factor in who I am. I mean, and their support and their love in choosing to do what I do. You know, this is a big thing on being social media, and especially if you have parts of your family that are much more private. So for me, having fun is just being able to get together with everyone. And we just celebrated my granddaughter's, Frankie Ray's, 4th birthday. So for us to be able to all get together is a wonderful blessing. And to me, you know, the holidays, friends getting together, it's just getting together with people. That's what I love. And meeting new friends, making new friends. I mean, that to me is what life is all about. You can never have too many friends.
I love
so
that.
Like you or I. So
yeah.
I mean, you know, we've made new friends now. So, and hopefully we'll make new friends with people that come along and watch this. I mean, that's what, to me, it's connecting. That's all about, the world is all about connecting.
Yeah, I love that. Lisa, thank you so much. And so, Fab Gals, I'd love to hear what you think. Let us know in the comments below, what did Lisa say that really resonated with you? What is that take home? What has inspired you? I'd really, really love to hear your thoughts. And then also, I will put all of the links to Lisa's blog, Instagram, etc. down below in the description below. So spend some time there. Definitely follow her on Instagram, follow her blog. She's super inspiring. She's one amazing woman, and I'm just so grateful that I get to meet these women online and then also bring them to you to be inspired and uplifted and to further support one another. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. There's that little red button. You can click the subscribe, and also you can hit the little notification. The bell next to the subscribe button will actually notify you when I go live or when there's a new video. I do videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesdays are my fashion days, and Fridays are these kind of chats. So get your cup of coffee, get ready for it, 9 a.m. every Friday morning, and get ready to be inspired. Ladies, thank you so much. Till next time.